beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I've got 5 inches of snow in my yard here in Chicago, so it's looking a little too much like Christmas for me, and it's got me ready for this delightful son of a and I know that I'm not alone. There he is. We all remember this sweet bastard, don't we? I tweeted this out the other day. It's that time of year. Tim, get in here, because today I know on the program your background is a nod to this.
It's too good. Too good not to be.
Too good not to be.
Me.
All right, let's look, there you are. There he is behind you. His name, do you know his name, Tim? He's got a name.
I did last year when we first were doing parts of
He's the Abominable Snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? We all know that, but his friends call him Bumble.
I did know that.
Yeah, Bumble, which is where I met my ex-girlfriend. Thanks a lot for nothing. Bumble. It's bringing back some bad memories for me.
And what was his name who conquered him?
This photo,
who conquered him with the mustache?
Yukon Cornelius.
It was Cornelius. He was a real gem.
Yeah, Yukon Cornelius. Yeah, that motherfucker. He had to be an extended relative of Yosemite Sam, I would think. There's some DNA there. If they did a 23andMe, I guarantee you those guys are related. How could they not be? Tim, here's one for you. Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight left us with a lot of quotes and memories, and I know Bobby Knight is polarizing. Some people don't like him, but in this touchy-feely kumbaya, if somebody gets their feelings hurt, they go cry about it and look for their safe space and their cookies. Here's a little reality check for you from the 1980s. The greatest motivator in the world is your ass on the bench. Ass meets bench. Bench retains ass. Ass transmits signals to the brain. Brain transmits signals to the body. Body gets ass off bench and plays better. It's a hell of a sequence. And that quote, of course, comes to us courtesy of the great philosopher Robert Montgomery Knight. Tim, Bobby Knight had his faults. There's no question about it. He is the poster boy for anger management issues. But regardless of what one's personal feelings are for Bob Knight, there's a certain old school toughness in this quote that I think that those of us with enlarging prostates find some wisdom in.
He was maybe the best college basketball coach ever. Certainly someone who could not exist today, which I think is more of a statement on us today in the sports world today than back then. The throwing of the chair and all that other stuff. Master motivator. Love some of his speeches about getting on Jordan for not having enough assists in whatever game they were playing. Angola blowing him out by 55. But look, we've had the pleasure of talking to Dan Dockich about it. You know, the late Bob Knight here. I think his players, all to a T, all to a man, respected the hell out of him. They may not have loved it, everything that he did, but man, he got the most out of everybody. But could you imagine the sensitivity training he would take if he gave that speech? I mean, he gave that speech I think that was a post-game press conference, was it not? Might have been pre-game, but man,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he could have said it. He could have said it after, chunking a sand wedge on the golf course. You never know with Bobby Knight where the outburst is going to come from. He might have just been having dinner with his family, and just suddenly that came to him. But Bobby Knight, your Angola was 92. Knight coached Jordan in 84. And my favorite Bobby Knight quote of all time is him talking about Jordan before Jordan had played a game in the NBA.
Right.
And he called Michael Jordan the greatest basketball player that he's ever seen. Before he had suited up for the Chicago Bulls even once. And he also said, I think it was Portland, said, well, you know, we need a center when they were considering not drafting him, which, you know, ultimately they didn't, right? They took Sam Bowie out of my home state of Kentucky. And Bob Knight famously said to them, well, then play him at center if that's what you need. And indeed, he would have been a better center than probably 90% of NBA centers if he had played there. But shout out to Bob Knight there for the old school philosophy. I mean, hey, listen, I give credit to the New York Giants. They have tried that philosophy with Abdul Carter this year. So there is still some mentality there that, you know, putting your ass on the bench might wake you up. And then when Lawrence Taylor tells you that you need to wake up afterwards, if that doesn't wake you up, then you, my friend, are worse off than Rip Van Winkle. And then finally, here's one that I tweeted out recently. This is shout out to my friend Ned down in Georgia. This is one of his favorite Super 70 sports tweets, one that I, you know, tweeted out probably every 6 months or so. The day that Muhammad Ali met John Lennon, and there they are having a conversation, and as I like to do over at Super 70s, I try to imagine what that conversation might have been like, and in this case, I imagined Ali leaning in and saying, man, your wife's crazy. Your friends are afraid to tell you. Didn't do any good, of course. John was just as happy as a lark with that woman. But don't blame it on Muhammad Ali. He was the one guy who had the stones to stand up and say something to him about it. Your wife's the craziest of all times. Man, who knows what that bitch is going to think about anything. I've heard her wail and yell. She's like fingernails on a chalkboard. All right.
What is her name? Oh no, Yoko? Yoko. Dude, look at the.
I said, oh no. Oh no, you married her. What was that?
Look at the gorgeous what is he wearing? It's not a corset. What is that? Ali's tux going down the front.
There's not enough frills. I mean, yeah, the frilly tuxes. Why didn't you and I get to live in an era where frilly tuxes are considered appropriate? I would love to bust out a frilly tux.
Hell yeah.
Doesn't happen anymore.
With the edging on it? Looks good.
Is Lennon the sheriff? Is he? He looks like the marshal. There. There's going to be a shootout at the OK Corral later. I can't believe you posed on the front of that album with your dick hanging out. Your wife is crazy. You'd have never done that when you were with the Beatles. Man, if Paul McCartney had been around, you'd have never done that foolishness.
You don't say. Would you like to meet her? Ali's hands, man.
Nobody likes her. All right, yeah, those hands. Look at that. I shook that hand, God damn it. Proud of it, too. Didn't wash my hand for a week.